Alright, this is our scene on Clostridium botulinum, taking place in Clostridium botulinum headquarters, where these evil robots, these bots, produce their evil things. Let's talk about this scene. Through this scene, we're going to learn everything that we need to know about Clostridium botulinum. So we begin with this evil character over here. He produces evil things in this evil factory. This evil guy reminds us of the structure of Clostridium botulinum. First of all, it's a rod. As this character over here is shaped like a rod, this reminds us that Clostridium botulinum, just like other Clostridia species, is a rod. And he's purple because Clostridia species are gram-positive. They stain purple in gram staining due to their thick peptidoglycan wall. He also has a mask on. For again, Clostridia species are anaerobic. To represent anaerobic in our scenes, we have these surgical masks. To represent the fact that they don't want to breathe in air, they don't want to breathe in oxygen because they're obligate anaerobes. And you may have noticed that on the floor there are spores, as Clostridia species are spore-forming. These spores, Clostridia to survive harsh conditions. Now let's talk about transmission of the disease. We take a look at this crate that this robot is moving around over here. It has canned food in it and honey. Transmission of Clostridium botulinum is through home canned foods in adults and spores in honey in infants. And we're going to talk about the disease presentation in adults and infants soon. But first, let's talk about the mechanism of Clostridium botulinum. For that, we take a look at the neuron character that we saw at the beginning of the scene. This neuron was holding a gun because he was trying to release acetylcholine. But botulinum stopped him, and that's how botulinum works. It blocks acetylcholine release in the presynaptic neuron. More specifically, botulinum toxin enters the nerve terminals where it prevents binding and fusion of acetylcholine-containing synaptic vesicles. We're going to see at the end of this video that this is specifically through the destruction of snare proteins. But anyway, this effectively blocks acetylcholine release into the synapse. And this is what makes botulinum toxin so highly potent. Even a very small quantity can be lethal if the patient is not given ventilatory support. And it's actually through this mechanism that botulinum toxin is used as Botox. Due to its effects at the nerve terminal, it can treat torticollis or torticollis through its effect on the sternocleidomastoid muscle, and it can even treat the muscle spasms of multiple sclerosis and Parkinson's disease by relaxing muscle. So again, that's our point over here, that Clostridium botulinum works by preventing acetylcholine release from the neuron. Now let's talk about disease presentation. So we saw that the robot threw the crate off the platform. This descending over here reminds me of the descending flaccid paralysis seen in botulism. Let's get to more specifics. We want to differentiate between presentation of botulism in adults and in infants. Remember, in infants is via ingestion of spores and honey, and in adults is via ingestion of preformed toxin in home canned foods. Adults present with a descending flaccid paralysis. So we had the father over here who came in with his baby. They were trying to spy on the robots, perhaps to eventually destroy them. This father played dead with his son, with his baby. The father looked like he presented with descending flaccid paralysis, and he told his infant to play dead by being floppy. Adults present with descending flaccid paralysis, and infants present with floppy baby syndrome. And by the way, you may have noticed that surrounding the crate and the floor, there were these 4 Ds. Perhaps they were doors or something. But these 4 Ds just remind us of the 4 Ds of adult botulism: diplopia, dysarthria, dysphagia, and dyspnea, all symptoms seen in adult botulism. And again, D for descending flaccid paralysis. But again in babies, we see floppy baby syndrome, where babies may present with weakness and lethargy, and also constipation and reduced feeding. Treatment of botulism is with human botulism immunoglobulin, and we begin this even before confirming the diagnosis, due to potential death due to the danger of botulism. Now, as a final point, again, I mentioned this at the end of my Clostridium tetany video, is that Clostridium botulinum, as we mentioned, blocks acetylcholine release in presynaptic neurons. And part of this mechanism is that it cleaves snare proteins involved in neurotransmission. So just like in our tetany video, we're going to have the Saturn over here. I guess these robots over here use this computer for their plans or something, I don't know. But this Saturn over here reminds us of snare, as botulism, just like tetany, cleaves snare proteins involved in neurotransmission. Alright, so that's it for this video over here on Clostridium botulinum. I really hope you enjoyed. Take care.